Hey guys, Korg here. You know the big guy that looks like a pile of rocks? Welcome back to my YouTube channel, Cool Korg Productions. Cool spelt with a K, of course, like Korg. I was going to call it Korg's Cool Club, but Thor said you humans wouldn't like that too much. He's been on Earth a lot longer than I have. Anyway, men, today I'm going to give you my review of Thor: Love and Thunder. It was the best movie of the year, there was nothing wrong with it, and Korg carried the whole movie on his big, rocky shoulders. Oh, and...
Hey!
Oh shit, gotta go.
That was weird. Let's get to the actual review, shall we? Hey everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and exactly like Korg said, today I'm going to be reviewing Thor: Love and Thunder. The latest entry in the MCU, the fourth entry in the Thor franchise, and the second Thor film directed and written by Taika Waititi. Sometime after the events of Avengers Endgame, Thor is struggling to find purpose in his life outside of battling with the Guardians of the Galaxy. Don't get too excited at me saying that, they're only in the movie about as much as you see them in the trailer. That all changes when Gorr the God Butcher starts traveling the realms killing gods.
How exciting!
Causing Thor to team up with Valkyrie, Korg, the surprising return of Jane Foster Wielding Mjolnir, right away with the framing device of Korg's narration, voiced by director Taika Waititi with that Kiwi accent I love so much.
Kids, get your popcorn now. Let me tell you the story of the space Viking, Thor Odinson.
The film positions itself as two things. Number one, a blatant comedy like Thor Ragnarok, but number two, a romantic comedy, but a straight up romantic comedy. Something we haven't really seen much in the MCU. We've seen romance in other movies, and we've seen a bit more of an emphasis on the romantic comedy aspect in the Spider-Man trilogy that they did, but really we haven't seen a movie like this yet. The movie's not without its flaws, and I do prefer Ragnarok, but Love and Thunder is fun, funny, exciting, and even has a ton of heart. The humor misses a lot, but it hits a lot too. I had some full-on belly laughs, but I also had a few times where I nearly groaned. Kinda like the douchebag teenagers that were sitting behind us that were talking and making snide comments and sneering at things throughout the whole movie. Shut up! There's also a few recurring gags, including one with Mjolnir and Stormbreaker that is absolutely hilarious, that had me nearly crying laughing every time it came up.
Hey, there you are!
But there's also ones that wear out their welcome pretty quickly, like one involving two goats that Thor adopts fairly on in the movie that scream. You know what scream I'm talking about. And they do it every time they show up. It made me laugh one more time towards the end of the movie, but for the most part, after about the third or fourth appearance, I was rolling my eyes almost every time they showed up.
Make it stop! Damn it, Wade!
To step away from the comedy aspect, let's talk about the villain, because Gorr is probably one of the best villains the MCU has had in a long time. The scenes involving Gorr, played by a manic, sadistic Christian Bale, start off pretty heart-wrenching and make you feel for him, and then quickly, very quickly bounces into terrifying so naturally, and none of that weight is robbed by humor, unlike what some people are complaining about. Though some other parts of the movie are, but I'll get to that later. Here we get a genuinely tragic opening for Gorr, and there is zero humor to undercut that. And aside from some quipping here and there from the heroes, Gorr is actually allowed to be scary and intimidating and pose a threat. Even Hela in the last movie had some parts where she was just joking. Gorr remains scary throughout most of the movie, and when he's not scary, he's actually pretty heartfelt. I also don't agree with the complaint that he didn't have enough screen time, though I do wish that we would have seen the God Butcher actually butcher more gods. He's kind of just the god murderer here, but I won't really spoil anything. But besides that, I really thought he was a phenomenal villain, and I thought Christian Bale did a great job, but there's no surprise there. As for the main cast, Chris Hemsworth is always great as Thor. If you're someone who stands by those first two films and the first Avengers movie as your favorite portrayal of the character, then you're probably still not gonna like this. Me, on the other hand, I thought the first Thor was just alright, and I was bored to tears by the second one, and the absolutely played out, boring Shakespearean dialogue that got really repetitive after a while, and really stilted Chris Hemsworth's performance.
But warriors, patience.
While you wait and be patient, the Nine Realms laugh at us.
So I absolutely love this version of the character, and I feel like Hemsworth has evolved into a comedic Thor that still has plenty of that Norse warrior legend in him, and he's got plenty of moments to flex his dramatic chops too. Hemsworth's performance is surprisingly actually boosted by Natalie Portman being there as Jane Foster. For a relationship that was such an afterthought in those first two movies that it came off very underdeveloped and people responded to it so negatively that it was cut out of the third movie completely.
Sorry to hear that Jane dumped you.
She didn't dump me, you know. I dumped her. It's a mutual dumping.
Their love story really becomes the heart of this film, with their chemistry and development being way stronger than in either of those two films. I think that's because of Waititi's indie background. He knows how to write these small character moments that don't just make you feel for the characters, but also boost and build their relationships and chemistry more, so that by the end of the movie, you just fall in love with the characters even if you've already known them for over a decade. I won't spoil too much about Jane's story and how she gets Mjolnir, but I will say that comic fans will definitely be happy with how the source material is handled, and I think Natalie Portman settles back into this role pretty well, and under Waititi, she honestly feels more free and gives more of a natural performance. Though she does give some typical Marvel humor quips that don't really land all that well, especially one that's in the trailers about her trying to figure out a new catchphrase.
Well then, if it's color we need, let's bring the rainbow.
Bring the rainbow, is that a catchphrase or something?
Tessa Thompson's Valkyrie was kind of treated like Jack Sparrow in this movie. She's here, yeah, but she's more of just a supporting action and comedic relief role that's in the background for a lot of the movie. And honestly, so is Korg. Come to think of it, that's really the biggest problem this movie has, and it's indicative of a problem the whole greater MCU has. I mentioned how a lot of the humor works and a lot of it doesn't, but the problem is that every character in this movie, basically except for Gorr, is a fucking comedian. Even Gorr honestly has some humorous line deliveries in a couple points in this movie. Point is that they all crack jokes throughout most of the movie except for the few dramatic scenes. So when those dramatic scenes do come about, the constant joking and levity throughout the entire movie and comedy atmosphere kind of robs those dramatic moments of the weight that they really need. Not saying that those moments don't work, because yeah, they do, especially in the context of the movie, but given the fact that you were laughing your ass off 5 minutes ago, going into a scene where film is obviously trying to get people emotional and trying to get people to cry, it just doesn't hit as hard. That being said though, the comedy does work often enough to leave you laughing through quite a bit of the movie, and the chemistry between Thor and Jane along with the terrifying presence of Gorr is definitely enough to keep you entertained and drawn into the story, especially when it comes to the action scenes. The action in this movie ranges from hilarious to intense, but is never anything less than jaw-dropping when paired with the top-notch visuals and inventive set pieces. One scene in particular in a planet in the Shadow Realm that you will definitely know from the trailers if you've seen them just left me speechless. It's beautiful. Lastly, you already know what I'm going to say. I end almost every review with this. Michael Giacchino's score was great. He's scoring pretty much every fucking movie I see nowadays, so that's not surprising for me to say. It's like saying that Meryl Streep or Tom Hanks gave a great performance in a movie directed by Steven Spielberg. I mean, shocker. So yeah, while Thor Love and Thunder doesn't quite give its supporting cast enough to do, slightly neuters its otherwise fantastic main villain, and features hit or miss comedy that takes away from the movie's more dramatic moments, it's still incredibly fun with plenty of laughs, great performances and chemistry from Chris Hemsworth and Natalie Portman, truly amazing action sequences, and a terrifying layered villain played by Christian Bale. I definitely recommend it. Anyway, thanks for watching this review. I'm Anthony from Awesome Anthony Productions. Check out these screens here if you want to check out my latest review, or maybe just go over to my channel and see what else I've got. If you enjoyed this video review, please go ahead and leave a like, subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell icon so you get notified whenever I post another review. I try to post one a week, usually on Wednesdays. And if you saw Thor Love and Thunder, let me know what you thought in the comments below. And that's about it. See ya.